Last year, say sometime in July, August of 2020, when the market recovered dramatically, I asked around and did even a small poll asking why the market went up. So largely there were three answers. One is the US was printing too many notes, and of course there was no denying that the US was printing a lot of notes or putting too much money into the economy, and the cash supported asset prices, and the fact that some $600 per person was being paid by the US government was also helping the fueling the number of Robinhood investors had increased, and they all were buying shares, and therefore the asset prices were going up. This is a nice explanation, and to our rational mind this is very useful also, but I don't know whether this was standing the test of time, because every market was up. It was not just the US market was up. Of course US is 50% of the world market, so if US has a problem, the whole world will have a problem. But just to say that these were the causes, why would the German market, Japanese market, UK market, France, everything was up. Indian was of course up. Everything was up, and everything could not be attributed just to the note printing by the Fed alone. I mean, obviously other state governments or other the Feds or the central banks were also printing notes, and something was happening. And of course there are a number of Zerodha account holders and ICICI Direct numbers. If you saw the quarterly results, they were all going up. They were opening a lot of new accounts. There was no doubt about that. So I said, let us look at the numbers. Then I said, let me go to the US and see the numbers. And first of all, there is absolutely no denying that the Zerodha effect or the Robinhood effect is there. Look at the GameStop. Right, people got together, decided to do a thing, and they did it. Now, I don't think our legislation understands this much, but people acting in concert is something which they have to worry about, because a bunch of people can bring a share down or take a share up, and they can do it seemingly independently, and that can create a lot of problems for companies who are raising money, who have raised money, and it can be disastrous. So I don't know how the regulator is going to act, but that's for a different post. So I went and saw whether there was any research done in the US about the connection between the Robinhood traders or the note printing, and I luckily found one in the Swiss Finance Institute, which was quoted by Morningstar, and Philip van der Beek and Coralie Jaunin were the people, and they supported the contention that the equity market implications of the retail investment boom, and they found that the Robinhood clients contributed handsomely to the second quarter of the 2020 US rally, especially for the smaller company shares. Now this is something which SEBI has to be worried about. Can some guys acting in concert, which the regulator does not understand, if I and my neighbor buy shares together, the regulator doesn't understand, because they normally think it is only me and my brother or me and my wife who can act in concert. But yes, acting in concert, they will have to worry about what is happening. So you can take all the data and then you can do a back testing or guessing. When you say reverse engineering, you mean guessing as to what could have happened. And I do think that tracking Robinhood investors is not sufficient, and then there are hedge funds, there are banks, there are international funds. You have to worry about all of that. And my reaction to something is, I don't think the numbers support saying that the Zerodha investors or the Robinhood investors are having too much of an impact. The study calculated that the demand from Robinhood clients boosted the value of US stock by 1% during the second quarter. Now 1% is not something very small, and they also said this came after actions that added 0.6% to the US stock first quarter results. Those figures are high, but if annualized, it means Robinhood trades were about 3 percentage points to the Wilshire 5000 index returns in 2020. That to me sounds not very true, but the problem with this study is it did not take into the options which these small traders did. So if you ask me, maybe the impact was true. There is another advantage or disadvantage, how you look at it. Try going on to some social media and say the market is going to crash, and look at the number of people who are angry. Now, these are all people who have recently built positions. It's fairly obvious. India is a young country, so a lot of youngsters have built their position in the last 5 years, and they hate the fact that there is somebody who even thinks that the market can go down. They are almost in that Alan Greenspan kind of a mode that we are now in for a permanent bull market, right? Nobody wants to hear that things could go wrong. And I think there is one more bad lesson that has been learned, that a recession can last only 3 months. Or maybe 6 months. By the time it will recover. So what is the best thing to do when the market goes down is to buy more, right? Because this is what worked in say 2017, or it worked in 2020. It worked maybe in 2007, 2008, right? It worked because the recessions, the recoveries were V-shaped. So now there is a big crowd which believes that every time there is a fall, the recovery will be V-shaped. So the best thing to do in that V is to invest more money. Yes, I'm sure there are a lot of people who will be contrarian to it and say, oh, first you should sell and then you can wait to buy. But there are a lot of people who think the minute a market falls, I mean, even if the share which they have bought falls by 1% or 2%, they rush to average because they believe that it's a great opportunity to buy the same share. I really don't know whether this is true, and the estimate of the author seems to me to be a little optimistic. So looking ahead, let us look what is going to happen. So small company, to me, and I agree with Morningstar in this, is small company shares will be more violent. So which means if you are buying and selling small company shares, mid cap, small cap, you have to be more careful because people could be acting in concert. Now if you have bought a share at say 100 rupees and you have kept for yourself investment stop loss of 25%, the share could come down to 75 and you would panic, you would sell, then it go down to 55 and then it goes back to 125 because these people, the group broke up, right? Can this happen? I think this will happen. Small companies will be more volatile, but small companies will do better because as more and more people diversify their portfolio, more people will buy small stocks, so that will keep the small stocks up. But somebody acting in concert could take it down and keep it down for a much longer period than you are comfortable with. Hopefully SEBI will start understanding all this. I have my doubt whether we will really understand this very quickly, but I hope we really do. But colluding on message boards, I don't know whether it is a great sign for what is going to happen in the market. But these kind of collusions will happen, so people cannot afford to be arrogant on the social media. So if some company does something arrogantly or removes some woman because of some remark or because of some issues, so all the women could get together. Or if the company does not have a very friendly handicapped person employment, disabled people employment, they could take it out. Hindu, Muslim, caste problems, etc. Anything could surface on social media. And if the CEO makes a statement which is not to the liking of many people, that could bring a share down. I think you have to be more sensitive to what is really happening in companies and be willing to stick around even if the price falls 40, 50, 75% because of some non-performance related issues. Thank you.